So here I want to give you just a little bit of a reality check with the first day of Chem 141, and it has to talk about smarts. There are two broad categories of what I refer to as smart. The first is what is commonly referred to as book smart. So people who have book smarts, test taking is relatively easy for them. They are good at memorization of facts and algorithms and procedures, and have little trouble sort of picking those things up. If I ask you to memorize 15 words by tomorrow and then spew them out on a test, you should be able to do that. If I ask you to do a certain kind of mathematical problem, it's the same kind of problem, and you do it 15 times, and then I give you a 16th one on the test, you're pretty good at doing it. If you are book smart, and that's the only skill that you really want to use, those kinds of book smarts, that's really good if you want to be a librarian or a historian or a mortician or even an assembly line worker. Is there's little critical thinking needed. So it's just sort of like, how much do you remember, and retaining facts and information and sort of procedure. All good jobs, no problem. And the K-12 system focuses on these book smarts only because of the nature of the K-12 system nowadays. We have lots of tests, and teachers and schools want you to do well in the tests, especially standardized tests. And so book smarts are really what you need for test taking. And so your book smarts are all pretty good. Now the other kind of smart is what I refer to as critical thinking smart, which is different. It's more like problem solving. And my definition of problem solving is using previous knowledge to solve new and novel problems. The key here is that the problems that you see are not identical to problems that you've seen before, but knowing how to solve old kinds of problems and taking information from this problem and this problem, you can solve new problems. This primary smart is needed for car mechanics and plumbers and home repair people. So if you are a home repair person and someone calls you in and to fix their toilet, fix their plumbing, fix their electrical needs in their house, it's almost all critical thinking and problem solving because everybody's house is different. So if you have a problem, it takes time and effort to sort of figure out, oh, okay, here's the problem for this one, and here's how we're going to solve this particular problem. And it's not the same from day to day. And these people don't necessarily need book smarts. I mean, they need a certain amount of general electrician knowledge. But for example, they don't need to know when Napoleon was defeated at Waterloo, and they don't need to know what the primary enzyme in your livers are, and things like that. So it's mostly critical thinking and problem solving. Again, all those people have very good lives and very good jobs. Now, critical thinking smart is not a focus of the K-12 system, again, because it's very hard to measure, very hard to test critical thinking smarts. Programs like No Child Left Behind, which is a federal program for funding of schools, requires measurable outcomes. So again, standardized tests. So over the last 10, 12, 15 years, book smarts has been overemphasized, and critical thinking and problem solving has been underemphasized. So if you have both combined smarts, meaning if you have critical thinking smarts and problem solving smarts, then you can grow up to be an engineer or a doctor or an architect. Engineers don't design the same thing over and over again. They sort of are book smart in that they learn previous designs of various things and then take those previous designs and tweak them and combine them and make new things. That's what engineers do. They do problem solving by designing new systems. Doctors have to use critical thinking skills and book smarts because they have to understand basic physiology, for example. But every patient is different. So everybody's patient's physiology is a little bit different. They might have this disease or this medical problem, combining with this medical problem, giving a new medical problem, and everybody's different. Architects. Nobody designs the same building. Just as, if you're a book smart architect, then you couldn't design a new building. All you'd be doing is copying old buildings. Whereas real good architects take old building designs, so take that book smart and what they've learned about architecture, but then design new and novel buildings. So these three very broad categories of jobs require both critical thinking, problem-solving skills, smarts, as well as book smarts. In each case, you must have previous knowledge, again, book smart, as well as be able to apply previous knowledge to solve new and unique problems. Critical thinking smarts. You need them all. So here's where the problem comes in. Well, it's not really a problem, but it's something that you need to understand here at the beginning of many of yours college experience. You all did well in high school. That's why you're taking this class. Nobody takes general chemistry for fun. People take it because it's a requirement, and almost all of you want to grow up to be engineers and doctors, or architects, or physical therapists. And you did well in high school, and maybe you didn't even have to try all that hard, and you didn't have to learn how to study because it came relatively easy to you. Because you are book smart. You're all book smart, otherwise you would not be even taking this class, because you would not have been told by your parents and your teachers and your grandmothers to go on to be a doctor, engineer, or physical therapist. You have been patted on the back because you're smart. You all did really well in school. Some of you might even have been valedictorians in your graduating class. You think, awesome, this is going to come easy to me because high school was really easy. I didn't have to study very hard. I'm going to go on and get a really cool, high-paying job. You are all very, very book smart, and there's no doubt in my mind that you are book smart. But the problem is that critical thinking skills is also extremely important. For all those degrees that you want to go on to be, every one of you in here taking this course wants to go on to be a doctor or a physical therapist or an engineer, and that requires those critical thinking skills that I talked about earlier. You're book smart, so you got that, but your critical thinking skills might not be as strong. And we don't know because they've never been tested, they've never been stretched, they've never been honed, they've never been perfected. And that is why Chem 141 is going to be hard, is because now your critical thinking skills are going to be tested and honed and practiced. To be successful in future engineering or medical courses, you need your problem skills to be high, and you might actually have to learn how to study. And you need to not be afraid of that. You need to understand that this is going to be difficult and this is going to be new, and you might have to learn actually how to study because you probably didn't have to all that much in high school. Because again, you're book smart and you're good at that. Getting through K-12 is easy if you're book smart. You might actually have to learn how to ask questions of your fellow students. You might have to ask questions of your instructor, and that might make you feel kind of dumb because you're like, I never had to ask questions before, and you know, asking questions might make you feel dumb, and you need to sort of get over that. You need to be okay with, you know, talking to other students and forming study groups, and practicing with other people. This isn't going to come easy. You're going to have to work to be successful, and you might even feel stupid because you're not getting it easily. Do not be discouraged. This is a learning experience. You're all in the same boat, and I promise you that the skills that you learn in this class will help you. Now, what I also want to emphasize is what I, as your instructor, promises to do for you in this course. I will never, ever, ever try to make you feel stupid. You might think that I'm calling you dumb, but that is never my intent. And you might think that just because I'm asking you follow-up questions that might make you feel stupid. That is never my intent. I'm trying to help you. I really, really am. I will push you hard because I know what it takes to be successful in this class and what it takes to be successful in your future science classes. I will give you oodles and oodles and oodles of help outside of the classroom. Come ask me questions, send me emails. I will give you screencasts and videos and reference material outside of class, and I'll give you a whole bunch of tools that will help you. You'll have your textbook. But for you to be successful, you actually have to use the tools. Just because they exist doesn't mean that they're going to get into your head. You actually have to go and consciously do the effort. If you ask me a question, I promise I will help you discover the answer. However, I might not simply give you the answer unless it's a really simple question. I will often, when you ask me a question, I will ask you a follow-up question, and I will lead you to that answer. That is part of the learning process, especially in critical thinking, is I'm going to teach you how to critically think, and that will come every chance I have to teach you how to critically think and use that critical thinking part of your brain I will. But simply just showing you how to do that specific problem, that I won't do. I'm going to teach you how to solve problems, not just that one specific problem. Because again, you need to be able to learn those skills. I will teach you critical thinking skills and study skills that will help you in this and every other science class you ever take. There will be lots of times where I'll take 15 minutes to explain literally how to study this material. And it has little to do, it's not specifically for the course and the content, it is for learning and how to be very efficient in your study time. I'll teach you how to, take 15 minutes and have it be much more effective than if you took this. I can teach you how to study a particular concept in 15 minutes instead of an hour and make your time much more efficient, which I know your time is valuable, and the less amount of time that it takes to learn the material, the better. And I could teach you lots and lots of skills that will help you in this class and all future harder science classes that you take. And I also promise to include funny stories and entertaining lectures. Nobody ever falls asleep in my class, and it's not because I'm loud and I throw things at them. I try to make lecture fun and upbeat and as entertaining as possible. But again, my job is to teach you critical thinking skills. I know you're going to forget most of the individual content in this course, and I accept that, but I want you to all be successful in my class and be successful in future science classes such that you can ultimately achieve your academic goals. And so with that, I offer you a good luck this semester.